This is where you talk about
One time for the chat. If you can hear me, it's your boy, producer, Nick the producer. Let's drop some likes in the chat. Show starting soon. Let's see some action in the chat.
Well, good evening. What's up, America? What's up, my American First Patriots? Welcome to episode 9 of the Straight Talk podcast. This is the only show that refuses to bow down to the establishment. I am your host, Isaiah Ascher, and tonight we're going all in on a single story. We're cutting all of our other segments tonight. We're focusing in on the single story that has the entire right-wing world on fire. Even got Rolling Stone magazines to admit the war over Nick Fuentes is over. He won. That's the headline. Tonight, we're not doing our usual headline roundup. We're not going to do our usual left-wing lunatics or local spotlight or anything like that. We're going to focus in actually on a deep dive into who Nick Fuentes actually is, where he came from, how a 27-year-old kid from the Chicago suburbs went from being banned on every platform to doing every major podcast now in America. What are his real beliefs? We're going to be diving into that, not looking at, out of context clips or satirical jabs or anything like that people try to take out of context that get twisted online. We're actually going to be breaking down the 4 biggest labels they throw at him. First being a misogynist. Second, a white supremacist or a racist. Third, an anti-Semite. And fourth, a Christian nationalist. Those are the 4 things we'll be breaking down tonight, looking at the evidence, the context in which he says some of the most controversial clips that we see on the internet, and the truth. Straight up, no filter, just straight talk. So lock your doors. Send this to a friend, a family member, a left-wing lunatic, a right-wing retard, anyone that you think would benefit from watching the show. Start throwing some love in the chat. I already see we got a bunch of people here. Turn up the volume because tonight we're not playing defense. We're exposing the truth that the mainstream media is terrified that you'll see, that I'll see, that everyone will see. So let's go ahead and roll that intro clip. All right, everyone. Thank you. Welcome back to Straight Talk. Appreciate everyone here. See, we've got a ton of people watching on Rumble. We've got some folks watching on X as well. If you're watching on X, go ahead and head over to Rumble. You can engage here in the chat with us. Hear from you. Want to know what you're thinking, what you think about the show, about the different segments, things that we're going to go over. If you're just joining us, a massive thank you to anyone just joining us for the first time. Appreciate you, every single one of you. Appreciate every single one of you watching here. Everyone who's liked or commented and shared these episodes. Your support is the reason that we keep growing and we keep telling the truth with no filter. If you're enjoying the show, please smash the like button. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode drop or never miss a time when we go live. If you want to help take this show to the next level, consider tossing a couple bucks in the chat. Throw some donations our way through Super Chats, the Rumble Rants, subscriptions. 100% of every donation goes straight back into the show, making it bigger, better, and more awesome for you. And if we get over $100 in Super Chats donated tonight, I'm going to tell probably the most racist Holocaust joke that you've ever heard live on stream. So if we get $100 in chats tonight, I will tell you guys a great Holocaust joke. All right. Well, just want to say thanks. I see everyone in the chat. Just want to recognize you before we begin. See, stay 100. We got Be the Difference, Valiant Bird, Kyle. Everyone engaging in the chat. If you're not engaging in the chat, you better start right now, or else you're going to be labeled a left-wing. All right, let's dive in right now. Oh, thank you for the big super chat, Kyle. Appreciate that. Need this joke, he said. We are 1/5 of the way there. Appreciate that. We definitely need donations rolling in. Appreciate the super chat. Come on, let's show some love throughout the episode. I definitely want to tell you all this joke. Pretty fun. It's one of the best ones that I've ever heard personally. It's short but funny. Well, tonight's entire episode, like I said, is about one thing. It's about Nick Fuentes and how he's taken over the right and why it terrifies, the right. Why it terrifies Con Inc., why it terrifies the establishment. So let's start right at the beginning. Who is Nick Fuentes? Question you always have to start with. Who is the person trying to find out more about? Well, he is a 27-year-old male. He identifies with the pronouns he, him. I'm just joking. You guys remember that Kamala clip? She's like, I'm a woman, I identify, or I'm wearing a blue suit or whatever. I just saw that clip the other day and just made me think about that. So back to Nick. He's a 27-year-old, born and raised in the Chicago suburbs. He comes from a traditional Catholic family. He actually had a political talk show while he was already in high school. So nothing new for him. He went to Lyons Township High School in a suburb of Chicago, Illinois. While he was there, he participated in the Model UN. He participated in debate competitions. And he even held, this is a little known fact, something I haven't heard before, and probably a lot of you don't know this. He actually held student council president position at his high school. So he was the president of the student council at Lyons Township High School. And then after high school, he graduated. He went to Boston University, where he also launched his streaming show. He started streaming as well. He attended Boston University until he started to receive violent death because of his political views. Nothing that we're not seeing today, right? Still seeing it 10 years later. And so, like I said, he started streaming. He got big during the 2016 election cycle when Trump was first coming on the scene. That's kind of where he made his name, where the America First movement started. He started the America First show actually in 2019. And then the Groypers were founded. The Groyper Wars, 2019 followed, things like that. So that's just a little bit of a history that a lot of people don't know about Nick. Because where does he come from, right? Born to a middle-class, normal family in the Chicago suburbs. So just want to lay the ground there. You know, he's not, he doesn't come from a family with extremist views or anything like that. Just wanted to make sure we lay the foundation there. Well, as he's gaining steam, he gets banned from every major platform. He gets banned from YouTube. He gets banned from Twitter. He gets banned from PayPal, Venmo, even Stripe. Tons of banning going on all around for Nick. And so he went on to build his own streaming platform, something that I didn't even realize until this week, is that he actually founded Cozy.tv, the little known streaming platform, so that he could keep growing. And he did keep growing. You know, he has, I think, 60,000 followers on his own streaming platform. Pretty impressive. And then you fast forward, you know, don't want to bore you all, but fast forward to 2025, right? Now he's doing every major podcast in America. We have Trump retweeting accounts that align with them. As we saw a couple weeks ago, you guys, the mainstream media couldn't keep silent and actually pressed President Trump on what he thought about the Tucker Carlson interview, right? And like I said, this controlled right, this establishment is in a panic because of this win he has, this war that's been pretty much finished this week. It's over. He's won. And so want to roll a clip here that I was actually supposed to roll earlier. That's my bad, Nick. I totally forgot to roll that clip. But this is just kind of what he's been up against, the hostility, how people view him. And this is just a perfect example from Pierce Morgan's interview this past week, where he's just bombarding him kind of with nonsense. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks. Let's just take a listen.
I can't hear it. You're muted, Nick.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
Technical
That's all
difficulties.
true. That's 100% true.
All
Everything I
right.
said in that clip is true.
Well,
including that.
don't know how we're going to show that clip. Anyways, the whole purpose of that clip was he's saying, hey, you are, he's calling him out racist, misogynist, anti-Semite, things like that. And he's saying, oh, this is the problem, that I had my computer muted, so I can't hear anything. Now I can hear. This is all my fault, guys. See, this is, let's try this again. Jesus Christ. Save me. No, it's not Rumble. It's me. Definitely me. Let's try this again, Nick. Play that clip.
This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks. Let's just take a listen.
Oh.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
Okay. Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
But all of them?
No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about black people who murder people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that.
That's
you just said
problem.
Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
Do you think it's funny or?
I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
Do you think a black American would find it funny? You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time. They say, Nick Fuentes, I love your show. They agree with me. And you want to know why? Here's the difference. Black people are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago. You should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
My son went to Chicago
Inglewood.
University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago and Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west, see what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is. That's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
Okay.
Wow. Great clip there, right? Really unpacks some of the views that he really believes and what he's trying to get to the root of, right? So very, very interesting to see just the dynamic. I think one of the best parts of this whole interview is just the dynamic between Pierce and Nick is that Pierce the whole time he's trying to press him and shame him and make him feel like, oh, you're a racist, right? And Nick's like, yeah, I'm a racist. So what's next, right? He just kind of brushes it off and moves on. He doesn't let the labels hurt him, right? So it's one thing that I loved about this clip. But we're supposed to play that clip earlier, and I just wanted to make sure that we got to hear that clip. We were supposed to play it right from the beginning of the show. So apologies. Like I said, plenty of technical difficulties today. We're actually trying out, so I should have told you guys, we're trying out something new, and this is Nick's first time, so he's doing a great job. We're trying out the Rumble Studio instead of StreamYard. Shout out, Nick. Yeah, instead of StreamYard. And so we're trying a new platform tonight, so we're still learning some stuff, learning how to do some things in this platform. So, but if we can use Rumble Studio, we can save some money, and it'll help us out. StreamYard costs us money, like we said. So
you might even get to hear from the producer every now and then too.
Exactly. Now that we have this, we can hear straight from the producer, the beautiful Nick. Very, very great. What was I going to say? I forgot. Well, I want to kind of get back to where I was talking about earlier. I just want to make sure we played that clip, kind of set the stage, set the scene for everything that we're going to be talking about tonight. And so, like I said, there's 4 big labels that we're talking about tonight. Misogynist is the first one. The next one is white supremacist. Third, an anti-Semite. And fourth, Christian nationalist. And white supremacist, racist can kind of interchange, right? Those are all the labels that we're going to be kind of outlining here, diving into, looking at different clips to help make our own assumptions, right? I'm going to come to my conclusion and I'll tell you what my conclusion is. But I don't want my conclusion to be your conclusion. I want you to hear straight from the horse's mouth. I want you to really think about it and not come at it from a place of predisposition, as we can sometimes, and really just let the truth speak, right? That's what Straight Talk's all about, is the unfiltered truth. And before we dive into the misogynist label, just want to say, if you're just joining us, thank you so much. Go ahead and smash that like button. Share this with someone, a left-wing lunatic. Like I said earlier, if you're just joining, we already got $20 in super chats below in Rumble. If we can get to $100 in super chats tonight, I'm going to tell you the best Holocaust joke that I've ever heard. So be sure to support the show. 100% of your donations goes right back in the show, making it better, bigger, getting better equipment, better screens, cameras, lights, anything that we need to make the show better for you. Even maybe we can even give a couple coins to the producer, Nick. So help him out. He needs it, right? I need it.
Appreciate it. Be much appreciated.
See, told you guys, he appreciates it. So before we go, though, want to thank our sponsor, Rumble Premium. Wait, is it not going to start? Dang. What's going on here? Man, more technical difficulties, right? Oh, okay, there we go. Well, we'll dive into the first label. We were going to do an ad spot, guys, but somehow the viewership's dropping down. We only got 9 Rumble viewers, so need to share it with someone, need to get some more friends watching. We got a lot of people watching on X, so if you want to come over from X to Rumble, that'll help us out. I don't get any money from X. The only money we're getting from is Rumble right now, where we're monetized. So come on over to Rumble. You can search at Straight Talk Isaiah on Rumble if you're over at X, and join us there. And if you're watching right now, share this with a friend. Left-wing lunatic, like I said, right-wing retard. We need them all in the chat. Free speech faggots, right? We need them all. We need them all watching the show. We don't discriminate. We might not agree with you, but we don't discriminate. All right, first label is the misogynist. Oh, I see we got a lot of chats. Sorry, before we continue, lots of chats about the Blues. How are the Blues doing? For the most part, should have taken over the 4.5. Let's go DraftKings one time for the Blues. Let's go Blues. You guys are wild. Yeah, let's go Blues. Good time. We love the Blues. St. Louis Blues are the best hockey team on the face of the earth. We need to hit our parlays tonight, hit our bets. So please make some goals. We need the over 5.5. So before we continue, though, you've probably noticed that Rumble's growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience with Premium. You get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering a $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's Studio, Studio. You can go to rumble.com/premium, promo code studio. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal. Thanks to Rumble Premium. Appreciate that so much. Well, misogynist. Nick is a traditional Catholic. He is very traditional in that sense. The Catholic Church holds to complementarian viewership. So he believes that women should not hold leadership positions over men in society or in the church. He believes that their primary role is to stay at home, to raise children, to be a homemaker. And he's very clear about that across the board in any of his shows. He doesn't change that. That's his traditional Catholic view. And he really believes that modern feminism has destroyed society. And I'll be straight up with you. This is the misogyny. This area is one area that I partially disagree with him, I would say. I don't completely disagree with everything that he says, because I do believe that feminism has destroyed aspects of our society. But I also believe that in my viewpoint, right, this is just my viewpoint, I believe that women are equal creatures made in the image of God, which he would also agree with. He doesn't believe that they're subhuman or anything like that. He would agree that they are created equal in the eyes of God. However, theologically, I hold a more egalitarian viewpoint, right? And then Nick holds more of a complementarian viewpoint. He's, a little bit even further than the traditional view of complementarian. He's a little bit more extreme. He also believes that not only the traditional complementarian views, but he also believes that women shouldn't have the right to vote. So that's where I kind of disagree with him on, right? And he's allowed to have that disagreement, right? You're allowed to have. Yes, exactly, Valiant Bird. Women and men have the same rights, but they're not equal necessarily. And so that's what egalitarians also believe, and complementarians just take it a little bit more extreme. And I think that there's a lot to say about this, right? Is that it depends on which political view you take. Do you take a Christian nationalist viewpoint, or do you take a separation of church and state viewpoint? Because that's going to determine your interpretation of this, right? And neither one's wrong, neither one's right. That's your opinion. It's not going to change the fabric of the world. It's not going to change the fabric of society necessarily. But by holding that view, right? But he just thinks that women have a specific role. That's the best way to say it is. And I completely agree with him. Women do have specific roles. God's designed them, right, as a complement, as a helpmaker to the male, right? All right. Hey, someone screenshot that, send it to Ashley. Let's get that screenshot of Valiant Bird. Just joking. I love the chat going wild. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the chat going. It fuels me, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. You don't know. This is amazing. Need some blueberry pancakes. That's right. Turkey and provolone. Is that too hard to understand? That's one of my favorite clips of Nick. Back, the misogynist views. So the only thing that I would have to take away that I disagree with him on his views is that I think that women should have the right to vote. I don't think that's basically saying the same as, certain people should have the right to vote and certain people shouldn't have the right to vote. In my view, felons, and there should be limitations. You should be able to get your voting rights taken away. But I think that the right to vote is just a right of an American citizen, male or female. And so that's my view, right? Not necessarily sharing the same view as Nick. He takes it that one step further. And that's where he gets the misogynist labels. But one thing I want to do is look at what the definition of misogynist is. And then I think, Nick, do we have a clip that we're going to play?
Yeah, it's ready. Clip's ready.
Okay, cool. Before we play it, I just wanted to read this definition. Just Googling here. Let's see if I can share my screen. All right. And let's take down the logo for a second here. Cool. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see the screen, Nick?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, cool. So the definition here, misogyny, right? Dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. And so the reason I want to look at this is dislike of or contempt for. I can tell you right now that Nick does not dislike women, nor does he have contempt for women. Not at all. He's openly voiced that he wants to get married, a traditional marriage. He wants to marry a woman. He wants to have a wife. He wants to have children. He wants to have the American dream family, right? That, I'm coming into that American dream myself, and it's amazing. That's what he does want. And then this last part, ingrained prejudice against women. And so then I clicked over to prejudice because I really want to dive in here. Prejudice meaning, right? Preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. So dislike, hostility, or unjust behavior, unfounded, preconceived opinion. And so that's what I wanted to point out, is that a lot of these definitions that get thrown around at Nick, get thrown around at people like myself and many others, is that it's not even the real meaning. It's not the true definition of the word a lot of times. It's just some fairy tale definition that the left has created to try to dehumanize us, to make it feel like we are lesser than, or that we should be shamed, or that's what they're really trying to do, is shame us with these words, right? 'Cause no one, deep down, no one wants to be like, I'm racist, right? And own that. Nick jokingly, it's satirical in many ways where he talks about it, but that's the problem with throwing labels around like misogynist like this, is that's not even the true definition. When you research it like I just did, and you go into the verb, noun, everything like that, it doesn't hold up to what they're trying to label him. So let's just see here. Nick's got a clip for us. Let's see what they got to say here, Pierce Morgan, from this interview.
I am attracted to women.
You're not gay.
No. But I will say that women are very difficult to be around.
Okay.
So there's that.
And do you think they should have the right to vote?
I do not. No, absolutely not.
They should stay at home?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur, aren't you? For a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm the boomer. I know I'm the boomer here, but actually, you're a 27-year-old dinosaur, aren't you? Aren't you, Nick Fuentes? All women.
I am.
All women are annoying. All women
I'm a
grow
fossil.
old. They all get fat. Says the guy. Have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely not.
Wow.
I am attracted to women.
You're not gay.
There we go. Thank you, Nick. Well, pretty outrageous clip there, because if we follow, let's just follow Pierce's logic here, right? So he's saying, hey, you're not gay, right? No, I like women. I want to be married to a woman, right? And how does he end it? I just blanked. You guys get to see me have a brain fart in live time. This happens to me all the time.
Should we run the clip back? Let's run it back.
Sure, we can run it. We can run it back. I just like to try to remember.
I am attracted to women.
You're not gay.
No, but I will say that women are very difficult to be around.
Okay.
So there's that.
And do you think they should have the right to vote?
I do not. No, absolutely not.
They should stay at home?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
See, basically, you're just a misogynist old dinosaur, aren't you? For a young guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm the boomer. I know I'm the boomer here, but actually, you're a 27-year-old dinosaur, aren't you? Aren't you, Nick Fuentes? All women.
I am.
All women are annoying. All women grow
fossil.
old. They all get fat. Says the guy. Have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely not.
Wow.
I am.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's the point I wanted to get to. Is are you gay? Okay. You want to get married? Okay. You like women. You're a misogynist because you don't think that you should vote. Blah blah blah. Right? You're an old dinosaur. It's pretty ridiculous. I'm just kind of appalled at how he kind of takes him through this questioning, and you can see in Pierce's face. Yes, exactly. That's what Green Shark says. He's trying so hard to hurt his feelings. Aren't you, Nick Fuentes? Aren't you? Huh? And then it culminates when he asks him, have you even had sex? Right? Have you ever been laid? Where he's trying to shame him for waiting till marriage. That's exactly what Christ wants. That's exactly what the Bible teaches. Pierce Morgan calls himself a Catholic and is yet basically openly promoting that if you haven't had sex with a woman, then you don't know anything about women, basically. And so, not saying Nick Fuentes is an expert in women, but I think that's pretty ridiculous to, especially as a Christian myself, to say that just because he hasn't had sex, that he doesn't know what he's talking about. So, if you're watching this, wait till marriage. It's the best thing you could do. God will smile upon you. And I'm just looking at the chat here. It's going, Pierce's wife is a cuck. She actually is. Kudos to Nick Fuentes for keeping his virginity. That's right. He's a cuck for sure. His wife's a whore. Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy. I'm loving this. Keep it rolling. Well, the next label that we get to attack here and look at and make a decision on is white supremacist or racist, right? Is Nick Fuentes a white supremacist or is he racist? And so we've got a few clips for this segment, is what I'm told, that'll help walk us through his thought processes of the views that you've seen online or clips that have been taken out of context that you've seen. And so this one, this first clip is thrown around constantly. So we're going to take a look at it and then we'll do a little commentating on it.
Is this which one is it? Because the one I had lined up was the per capita one.
Yes. Yeah, we can do that one.
Ooh, cool.
Yep.
Way to avoid black people when they see them.
Absolutely. They would be wise.
Why?
Because it's a lose-lose proposition. If you're Irina Zarutska and you don't walk the other way, you get stabbed to death and you die. If you're somebody else and you walk on the subway and you stand near a black person or something, maybe it's fine. It's a lose-lose proposition. So no, I think that white people I think that white people have been beaten into submission, that we're afraid to tell the truth about it. And the truth is that when you go into these major cities like New York or Chicago, I believe she was in North Carolina, there is a menace, which is young, Black, adolescent men. They're extremely violent. And we have been told that we have to pretend like they are every other person. We have to be colorblind to that. And we're supposed to go and be in the midst of all this danger. And I think that at this point, it's gotten out of control. You look at the BLM movement, they said that the reason that Black people are violent, or the reason there's crime, is because of police brutality, or redlining, or all these other things. They said we need to get rid of the police. We need to defund them. And a lot of cities did. A lot of cities like Chicago, for example, the police changed the rules of engagement. They don't chase them. It's not a felony if you steal a certain amount of merchandise. They won't chase them on foot. And now the city's totally up for grabs. And now, whether you're in the Gold Coast, or whether you're on the Mag Mile, or you're in the worst neighborhoods in the city, you might get shot, you might get mugged, someone might run up on you. And I tell my followers, it is better to be perceived as racist or racist and walk the other way and maybe keep your life, than to say, I'm a good anti-racist. I don't mind that this person's making me uncomfortable. Maybe he's looking a little froggy. I'm going to sit down because I'm a good person, and get stabbed, mugged, whatever. And by the way, this is a strategy. They call it the friendly stranger. There's a crew of them. They do this in Chicago. They stand outside bars, Black people. They approach strangers. It's a robbery crew. And they pretend to be a friendly stranger, and then they mug them. And stupid white people say, oh, hi, yeah, nice to meet you. They grin, they laugh, they put up with the nonsense, and then they get mugged, or worse. Sometimes they get executed. And so as a white person,
how do you feel about mass shootings at school?
I think they're bad.
Who do you think commits the vast majority of the mass shootings?
I'm sure it's
schools?
white people.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think Black people participate in more gang violence. I think that's the difference.
What's the difference to the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime, and it's a different proportion also. Do you know what percentage of white people are school shooters?
I know that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools in America this century were perpetrated by young white men. And I'm
what proportion?
I'm curious.
What proportion?
I'm curious whether your advice would be to people who have kids in these schools.
Is my mic working?
What
proportion?
Should they avoid white people at school? Should people with the kids at school avoid young white men at school?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what per capita means? Do you know proportionality? There are more Black people proportionally that engage in violent crime or are involved in gangs, especially in these major cities, than there are white people that are school shooters compared to the entire white population. And everybody understands that.
Two-thirds of mass shootings at school perpetrated by white people.
But what proportion of white men commit school shootings? That's the question.
I've just told you. It's 60-65% of school shootings by white people.
You're telling me what proportion of school shootings are committed by white people. I'm saying what proportion of white people have committed school shootings. Are you playing dumb, or are you just not that smart?
What difference does that make to the children lying dead on the ground?
See, now you want to jump on the victims. The difference is you're asking, would you fear white people or Black people? And that's the difference. The difference is in terms
what I'm saying to you is, by your logic, if we now have agreed that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools are committed by white people and predominantly young white men, then presumably your advice would be to avoid young white men because they perpetrate these massacres. But it won't be because they're white, right?
So are you playing dumb, or are you actually dumb?
Maybe
it's
I'm
about
dumb.
Proportionality.
Maybe I'm dumb.
You are because you're, I don't think you are dumb. I think you're smart actually, but you're deliberately avoiding per capita. And everybody knows that's the difference.
All right. Great clip, Nick. Great clip. Well, lots to say, lots to get into there. First off, I just want to read some stats here for anyone who's maybe not aware of the truth, right? Nick, your mic's on, by the way. Just I can hear you.
Oh,
Don't care.
I was just getting an extra video ready.
Oh no, you're good. Just want to hear your commentary. What do you think about this? You know?
Oh well.
So I'm
my commentary on it. Sorry, I was getting the next thing ready here.
Oh no, you're good.
My commentary on it. Pierce is just a really bad interviewer, in my opinion. You know, it really goes to show the separation in the different generations. You know,
Seriously, big separation.
Grasp what Nick was saying. I mean, it was just almost some basic math.
Yeah. So in front of me right now, I have the FBI crime statistics, right, on violent crime. For every 100,000 white people, including Hispanics, okay? Whites, including Hispanics, are about 75% of the population. For every 100,000 white people, only 340 of them are arrested for a violent crime. Versus Black people make up 13% of the population. And out of 100,000 people, 1,200 of them are arrested for violent crimes. So 3.5 times more than the white rate. And they're like, what's 13? I mean, let's 75 divided by 13. They're 6 times less of the population. So 6 times less the population, 3.5 times more of violent crimes. That's what Nick's point is. That's the point he's trying to get across to Pierce here, this boomer, right? And he's like, you're racist, Nick. Oh, hey, thanks, Stay 100 for the big super chat. Fuck Pierce.
Fuck Pierce.
You guys are hilarious. Oh, man. I'm getting in trouble for cussing, man. My wife is going to yell at me. But get back to work, Matt Walsh. But just want to circle back to the super chat here. If we get $100 of super chats, I'm going to tell the most racist Holocaust joke that I know tonight on stream. So we got $30 so far, 70 to go. If everyone on stream right now just donates $10, we'll more than hit our goal. So go ahead. Not only do you want to drop a donation in the chat, you want to like this stream, and then you want to share this with a friend, a family member, a left-wing lunatic, right-wing retard right now. Really, really appreciate that. Appreciate all the support. Back to Nick's racism, his white supremacy, right? Like I said, this word racist gets thrown around constantly, but it's complete nonsense, as we see here from the conversation that he's having with Pierce. Nick's just using this FBI crime statistic data that I just shared with you to show that the Black Americans commit more violent crimes at a much higher per capita rate. He's NTS, Pierce. You're NTS, not that smart. Idiot, dummy, right? Can't do math. I guess they don't teach math over there in London. He's not saying at all that white people are superior, Pierce. He's pointing out a statistical reality that you can't deny. You can't deny statistics. You can't deny facts. And all he's doing is asking simply, why is this happening? Is it their culture? Is it fatherlessness, right? Or is it policy? What's causing it? He's just asking the questions. Why is it this way, right? He doesn't know. He's just trying to figure that out for himself. And for that, they call him a racist. For that, they call him a white supremacist. And look, Pierce, right-wing establishment, we're done with the woke nonsense. We're done with it. We're done pretending that reality doesn't exist, right? We're done pretending that it doesn't exist just to avoid offending someone else. We don't want gay Republicans. We don't want men in women's sports or their bathrooms. And we're not going to tiptoe around the facts because we might hurt your feelings, okay? Get over it. We're done with the diversity trainings. We're done with Pride Month. We're done with Israel controlling our political landscape. We're done, period. We're done, Pierce. We're finished. You can't shame us anymore. I know we got some more clips that we got to get through. Sorry about my rant there, but we're just done with the liberal secularism. That's what Nick's trying to get across here. He's just trying to say we're done with this. We're through. I know we got a Candace clip here that we all want to watch. It's great comedy, in my opinion. And I think it just gives a good viewpoint on the entire situation. So let's go ahead and roll this clip, Nick.
So I'm trying to understand if you think that it's all Black people are like this, or if your world is kind of colored by this is what's going on in America. This has failed for 1,000 reasons. Welfarism has definitely, Black people in 1940s, stand up. My grandfather, I talk about that denigration and the corrosion of culture. Yeah. That's happening. White, Black, whatever you want to name it, there is this intentional corrosion of culture. So do you think it's literally, well, this is just what a Black person is when they come out? Or do you think that post welfare, LBJ, Great Society, this is what Black Americans have become, and I have a right to respond to that and say that as a white man, I don't want to live there?
Well, I think it's more nature than people would like to believe. There's this classic tension of, is it nature, is it nurture, is it cultural, or is it intrinsic, is it racial? And I've always been on the latter side of this among conservatives. Conservatives like to say it's all culture. Black America is the way it is because of hip hop music and the Great Society and that kind of stuff. And I think the uncomfortable reality is a big part of it is intrinsic. One of the big arguments against the abolition of slavery in the 1860s is that, when Europeans colonized Africa, they hadn't discovered the wheel. There's no two-story buildings. There's no writing. There's no written language. Missionaries had to go to Africa in the last century and invent it for the African people because there's no recorded history. They didn't have writing.
So Egypt is not in Africa.
Well, Egypt is a different race. The Egyptians were not Black.
Okay, but you said when they went to Africa, so I just want to...
The interior of Africa in the late 19th century, scrambled for Africa.
So we're now knocking Egypt out of Africa.
Well, Egypt is part of northern Africa, sub-Saharan Africa.
You said Africa, so I'm not trying to get a gotcha. I'm just responding. You're saying Africa.
Sure. Yeah.
It's in Africa. It's Egypt. It's kind of ridiculous to say there was no written language. Well, so I'm just trying to get you to
sure. Egyptians are not Africans.
If I'm not pushing back, the internet will. So
Egyptians are not racial Africans. When I say African, I'm saying sub-Saharan Africans.
Sub-Saharan, okay.
Black people because it is a different race. In sub-Saharan Africa, and Europeans did not penetrate that until late 19th century. They didn't have any of this. To the extent that you have infrastructure in Africa, it's from the Muslims in the Sahel and the Maghreb in northern Africa, where the Arabs colonized. And then you had, Carthage and Egypt, you had ancient civilizations. But sub-Saharan Africa, they didn't have that. You take these people out of that land and put them here, and they're enslaved people. You let them free in a modern, liberal republic. They're not going to succeed. It's not going to go well for them. And that was one of the arguments against abolition. People said if you free them without any assimilation, without any kind of process for them to be acclimated, they're going to die. And that's exactly what happened. Many of the bottom 10% of the lowest IQ Africans just died off for generations. And it had and pardon the expression, but it had a eugenic effect because over time, if the weakest are dying off, that's one argument for why Blacks in America have a standard deviation higher IQ than the Blacks in sub-Saharan Africa. So, so I do believe there is something intrinsic going on there. And what makes people uncomfortable about this is the idea that it's unchangeable. There's something about, and this is why I'm a Catholic, we do have an inherent desire for universalism. We do believe that there's a common humanity and a common human community and all of that. We hate the idea that we're born a certain way and we can never change. And that's just the way it is. And we even think about this in terms of, it's become not so popular these days to tell children, you can be whatever you want to be. Because we know that's not the case. Some people are tall, some people are short, some people are smart, some dumb, some ugly, some handsome. That's why, by the way, incel dumb is a big part of this also.
So you believe these are immutable characteristics that are assigned at birth?
I think that, yes.
For the most part.
Things like race, all those attributes are immutable and unchangeable. And
But they
we
have
to
changed.
grapple with
Just
that.
factually speaking, they have changed.
They change over time, over the generations.
Okay, so then you don't think it's immutable, because if this was an
For
immutable
an individual
characteristic.
person.
Okay, so you're saying that if you are born at this space and time as
Right.
a black person in America, here is the cards that you're dealt with, and you can't change that over time.
Something like IQ does not change. No, doesn't change wildly. It only changes genetically over. IQ is a big one, and that changes. That's a genetic trait. And so that can change over the generations, but you can't take an individual that's 75 IQ, which is the average in West Africa, and take them to 100.
So two dumb people can't produce a smart person.
I believe they can, actually.
Yeah.
But
So does that kind of debunk your...
no, because it's rare that happens. But IQ is a heritable trait, so it's unlikely that happens.
No, it was a longer clip, chat, but just wanted to get through the whole clip there. Great clip with the Candace show, just diving into what he means, right? What does he mean when he says that it's, can't be passed down, it's generational, these types of things. And so when we look at where African Americans come from, right? They come from majority of 99% of African Americans in America come from sub-Saharan Africa. That's why he's mentioning that. He doesn't talk about that, but that's why he mentioned sub-Saharan Africa versus Egypt is completely different race. It's Arab. It's very, very Arab up there, right? Not anywhere close to a sub-Saharan African race. And so he's pointing out just facts that I've heard many times that, hey, when the Europeans showed up, there was no written language, right? There was no, three-story buildings, right? All these things. And so he's just pointing simple facts out and trying to understand how are we where we're at today, right? And so, again, he doesn't hate all black people. Black people love him. I think he's just he's asking questions. He's trying to understand. He's pointing out facts. And so, again, going back to what I said earlier, just for asking those questions and trying to understand, he gets the racist label. Just for asking. Can't ask questions anymore in America, apparently. Can't do that. Before we go to this next clip, and we're going to wrap up this segment, this part, this second label for Nick of racist or white supremacist, we're going to take a ad break. And before we do, just want to remind you that we are trying to get super chat donations. We are halfway through the show right now, and our goal is to hit $100 in super chats and donations below. Just click that $sign. Donate right now. If everyone donates $10, we'll be able to hit our goal of $100. When we hit that goal, I'm going to tell you probably the best Holocaust joke. You may have heard it already, but probably the best Holocaust joke that you're going to hear this year. So it's a little racist too. So if you want to hear me say that, start donating in the chat. And if we hit $100, we're going to hear that joke. But while I have you, just want to say thank you to 1775 Coffee. I don't know, still haven't tried it yet. 1775 Coffee. This is your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. They only have 1,000 units. You're getting bold dark roast that hits hard with smooth medium roast and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus. No crash. It's all single origin, small batch, toxin free and mold free. Plus you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions in a black 1775 tumbler. It's $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for just $99. This is for the ones who've been watching the 1775 brand blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. My spoiler alert is that it is. You can go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that just stands for something, just like Rumble does. Thanks to 1775 Coffee for your support for the show. Also for your support, just want to thank our premier sponsor, Fuegos Amigos Salsa, our premier sponsor for the show. If you haven't yet, go head over to fuegosamigos.com, grab your jar today. It's all homemade roasted salsa, small batch, handmade, right here in the USA, jarred in the USA, ingredients bought, made, everything in the USA. So go to fuegosamigos.com to get your jar today. Feel the heat, taste the flavor. fuegosamigos.com. All right, now that we got that ad break out of the way, we can go ahead and check out our final clip for the second label that we're looking at of Nick Fuentes. Again, if you're just joining us, today we're talking about the Nick Fuentes takeover, how he's taken over the right, how they're trembling, the establishment doesn't know what to do, and we're just dissecting his views, seeing what is he saying, first of all, and then not only what is he saying, but what does he mean actually, right? Not from the clips, but what does he mean? What's his views? So appreciate that. Stay 100, trying to kill it. Appreciate your donation too. Appreciate you and Kyle's donations. Keep the donations rolling in, chat. We need them for the show. We need them. We need to hit 100 so we can hear that joke. Looks like Nick's got this clip queued up, so I'm going to share my screen right now. We're going to check out this clip from the Hodge twins, two black conservatives watching and reacting to this clip of Nick Fuentes. So go ahead and play that whenever you want, Nick.
Nick Fuentes, I mean, he's saying a lot of stuff. Everybody knows this, but it's, for whatever reason, it's wrong to say it.
Yeah, the thing is this. Black people say the same thing as Nick Fuentes is saying. But they only like to label white people as being, oh, man, you racist for saying that. No, it's obvious. I mean, it's true. Black people say that. I've always felt that way. As soon as I got some money, I got the hell out of black neighborhood.
I mean, I go in a black neighborhood, I'm nervous.
Yeah, those FBI statistics could be a lifesaver.
I remember I was a private.
They've made a show. Shut up. They've made a show around black culture. So Annie, it's called The First 48.
Annie.
That is about black folks.
Well, there's some white people in there doing some crazy stuff too.
Yeah, but those white folks think they're black.
They act like that.
They act just like they black.
Well, they act ghetto. It's not that they're acting black, they're acting ghetto. I had to correct you on that one.
Yeah, that was wrong for me to say that. But it's so synonymous now, it's okay to say it as black culture.
Yeah.
Because every time you come across somebody fabulous, man, you only assimilate to one demographic of people.
Right.
The way they dress, the way they act, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. I don't know. Takes a lot of bravery and courage.
Yeah, like you should be able to say what he said if it's the truth. And it's the truth. If you start cutting people's tongues out of their mouths, not letting people say actual facts, society doesn't progress.
And a lot of good white people is going to get murdered.
Yeah, and whatever is wrong with society cannot be fixed because you're not addressing it.
Right.
You're not allowed to say what is correct and what is wrong. What is bad, what is good.
Yeah. Problem with the black neighborhood is just the culture is just like if there's a drug dealer, the residents of that area will not call the police simply because they say that's considered snitching. That's a culture.
It's a cultural thing. Like white people
to black culture,
yeah. White people believe in snitching, and black people came up with a name for them. They call them Karyans.
Yeah,
it's just two different cultures.
Yeah, there's good culture and then there's bad culture. You'll see black people with the good culture a good culture, very similar to a white culture, they are very successful. They have absolutely no problems. But the people that's always bitching and complaining, they have this unique culture that's only black people share. You can find it in white culture too. You see them progressives like blowing up Teslas and stuff like that. Same kind of people. That's a different kind of crazy. Yeah. They all vote for the same people though. Ain't that ironic? Yeah.
Oh, what a good clip. I love the Hodge twins. I don't know about you guys, but they give an honest, unfiltered opinion of Black America and from the viewpoint of two Black Americans. And so what are you going to say when they come out and support someone like Nick Fuentes and the views that he's just portraying? Is that
how many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many?
Oh, I don't know why I can still hear you, Nick. That's random. Boy,
it was an error.
It's an error, he said. An error.
System's error.
System error, system. Yeah. Yeah, the Hodge twins, back to them, right? They're just echoing everything that Nick has said and that we've talked about up to this point, right? Is that, and I even like how one of the brothers called the other out, right? He's like, it's not just being Black, right? It's ghetto. And so there's a huge difference of, Black and ghetto, just like there's a huge difference of someone who's white and white trash, right? And so two different types of people, same race. It's just, how do you carry yourself? How do you hold yourself? What are your priorities, right? It's very similar. Even the Hodge twins kind of talked about that, the crazy left-wing lunatics and things like that. So at the end of the day, don't think Nick is racist, and he's definitely not a white supremacist. He's reiterated many times, multiple times, as a Catholic, all men are created equal in the image of God. So he doesn't believe that there is a race that is superior to another, that, for example, like Nazi Germany believed that the Aryan race was a superior race. Nick doesn't believe that. And so that kind of pulls the rug out from that argument. And again, circling back to everything that we've been talking about tonight, is that these labels are used by these left-wing lunatics. And that's why you can't allow them to have power over you, because they use them to shame you, to make you feel like you're doing something wrong, right? And you're not doing anything wrong. Nick's not doing anything wrong from what he's saying here. So we're going into the third label, the anti-Semite label, right, Nick? Or we wrapped up the white supremacist, racist one?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So not going to show the clip yet, but this third label that we're talking about tonight is anti-Semite. Is Nick Fuentes an anti-Semite? Does he hate Jewish people? This is the big one that they use to typically shut down the conversation. Nick talks about world Jewry, the organized effort by some influential Jewish groups and individuals to prioritize Jewish and Israeli interests over the interests of the host country which they live in, not just America, it's around the world, right? And he typically points to AIPAC's massive influence on American politics, on American politicians, on the media, right? There's billions in pro-Israel lobbying. There's dual citizens that are in high positions. We have this pressure to support Israel no matter what, no questions asked, and even have expectations, as Jewish people have, to marry other Jews, to preserve their people. And so from my own family background, we have Jewish roots in my family, but we're 100% Christian. I can tell you that every word of what Nick says is true. And before I go any further about talking about what Nick says, I think we have a clip that he talks about a little bit about what he believes and what is true. So let's go ahead and roll this clip that Nick, the host, our producer actually has here. Let's play that clip.
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many Jewish people?
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe 7 million. What's the number? 6 million, something like that.
So you
8 million?
You concede that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust?
Possibly more. Possibly, we're discovering all the time. So it could be, maybe even be more than that.
So why have you doubted the numbers in the past?
I'll tell you why. I really think that every death is a tragedy, however many Jewish people died in the Holocaust. And I'm not a World War II historian, so I'm actually open to believing the official narrative, and I've read some of the conspiracy theories. And to tell you the truth, it's a rigorous debate. But what's interesting about this is in many countries, it's not even legal to talk about it. And that's really where my interest in the Holocaust begins and sort of ends, to tell you the truth, is that if you wanted to question...
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many Jewish people?
That's the clip, Nick. Sorry. So, great clip there, because even though it's short, it dissects his true views on what he thinks about the Holocaust, which is one of the main arguments that's used against him is Holocaust denial or Holocaust revisionism, right? That he doesn't believe that 6 million Jewish people died. And here he says, I'm totally fine accepting the traditional Holocaust narrative. So it's not about that, right? And which I think Nick is an extremely smart, intelligent person. So I don't think there's any way for him to be able to deny the Holocaust because he's an intelligent person. There's all the facts. You can go read the Nazis' writings themselves and things like that. There's smaller debates to happen within there, but the facts are that there was a Holocaust, that Jewish people were killed, they were gassed. Now, 6 million weren't gassed. No, I don't know where people come up with that idea. That's not even in the history books, but somehow that becomes an argument. And so he brings it all full circle to say, hey, this is what my interest is in the Holocaust. There's, I think he said 14 countries. I know it's over a dozen countries where you can't even ask the questions about it. You can't even ask about it to learn if it's true or not or anything. You can't think about that or have rigorous debate around that point. And like he said, that's kind of where his interest begins and ends in the Holocaust, is just understanding that it's something that they say is off limits. And for Nick, when people say something's off limits, he wants to jump on that, right? That's kind of who he is. He's a loud, reactionary, kind of an in-your-face kind of guy, and that's how he's trying to get he's trying to wake people up with their political views, and so he's using the shock and awe to wake you up. And so just good to see here firsthand that all these things that people have said about him are completely not true, right? And that he's more, I think he's more normie, as he says. I think he's more normie than a lot of people think, or than even some of his own followers want to admit, because he even says about his own followers that there's a lot of them who will try to blame everything, right, on a Jew or Israelis. And he says, hey, that's just low IQ arguments. And so not everything's the Jews, not everything is Israel. And so he takes an actual fact-based look at it, right? And bringing it back home, right? Nick's point is simple here, is that America first means putting, American interests ahead of any foreign interests. Doesn't matter the nation. Like we said on the show before, even Israel's concern or interests ahead of theirs too, and Palestine's, right? Ahead of Israel's, ahead of Palestine's, Ukraine, Russia's, ahead of any of them. Right now, we're more worried about keeping Palestinians out of Israel and funding these wars overseas than fixing our own borders, fixing our economy, and making our cities safer. That's a problem. Nick's not a full non-interventionist, so he doesn't think that we don't need to have foreign aid or we don't need to be involved in certain wars. He just wants us, and as do I, and I'm sure as do many of you listening right now, he just wants us to come focus all of our efforts on home to fix our own problems first. And I support that. How about you, chat? Do you support that? Do you support the America First agenda and not the Israeli First agenda? If I don't see you saying that you support America First in the chat, or if I don't see an American flag from you, I'm going to assume that you're an Israel First Jew, shill. So you better put some American flags in the chat. You better tell me right now if you're America First or not. And I know that he's made a lot of satirical jokes about the Holocaust in the past. I've made jokes about the Holocaust in the past. And in fact, circling back to it, if we get $100 in donations tonight, I'm actually going to make a Holocaust joke. We got $30 in donations so far, thanks to Kyle, thanks to Stay 100. So go ahead, throw in a $10 donation right now in the chat, $20 donation, so we can hit our goal tonight, so we can hear that joke. It's pretty funny. If I say so myself, I think it's pretty funny. So click that little dollar symbol right there in the chat below. You can fill out your credit card information, your debit card information. Just swipe that card. 100% of your proteins goes right back into the show, making it bigger, better for you. And like I said earlier, he makes satirical jokes about the Holocaust. We just saw, though, in the interview, he's okay with accepting the traditional narrative that 6 million Jews died, right? He's not going to combat that. He's not against that. It's just his interest begins and ends in the fact that you can't question the traditional narrative. And again, he said that people obsessed over finding a Jew in everything, finding an Israeli in everything, are low IQ people. The real issue is what he says is that, like I said, you're not just allowed to ask questions or talk about this. So that's not hate. That's just really defending free speech. And we even have people attacking him for his free speech. We have folks like Roseanne Barr this past week who attacked him. I think we're going to play two clips. One, I think we're going to play, it's either two clips in one, or we're going to play the clip of Roseanne and they're going to play his reaction. So I'm going to throw it to Nick here. Let's play that.
What are you going to do about it, Nick Fuentes? What you going to do about it when I tell you, you little bastard, you're going to be begging the Jews to give you I don't know what.
Medicine for his Kalman syndrome.
You're going to be begging the Jews to help you, down on your knees and repent like Kanye West, motherfucker. Keep it up. It's a fucking, what do they call it?
Reckoning?
It's a sting. It's a God sting. Are you going to go against the God of Abraham? You're going to shit talk the God of the Torah? Keep it up, motherfucker.
Not just
You'll
the
see
Torah,
what happens.
the Bible? Jesus?
We'll see what happens when you try to overthrow the Constitution of the United States, the Republic of the United States of America. You talk shit about that, saying it ain't good, that we got to have some Catholic theology to replace it. You can kiss my motherfucking rich Jew American ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Come and debate me. Let's debate.
First of all, she looks like maybe someone's crazy aunt on the front porch with that cigarette in her hand. Looks like she should be maybe in a rocking chair, potentially in a mental institution as well. I mean, did you got something to say about that, Nick?
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Or just fucking send her back to Israel.
Yeah, I mean, what is she saying?
What is that? Who does she think she's talking to like that?
She's basically saying, so this is the problem. This is what Nick talks about a lot, is that there is a long-standing contention between Jews and Christians that started since Jesus walked this earth, right? The term Christians didn't come till later, because Christian comes from Christ, which is the Greek word for Messiah. Christ is the same as Messiah. Messiah, Hebrew, Christ, Greek, right? And so there's a lot of contention, a lot of this fighting, right? Even Paul, the apostle, was killing Christians when he was on the road to Damascus. He was going to kill Christians. He was blinded by the light. So there's a lot of tension. And that's what Nick brings up a lot, is that, hey, should we be supporting folks who don't agree with a lot of our values religiously, philosophically, right? And then you go deeper, and I'm not going to go too deep into this, but you go deeper and you dig deeper into the Talmud and Kabbalah and all these mystical things in modern Judaism, which is not the same as biblical Judaism. You come into modern Judaism and you're like, oh my gosh, this is just not what the Bible teaches, right? They just make up stuff to get around laws all the time. So it's pretty outrageous, and maybe we'll do a deep dive into it later on, but want to be able to get through the rest of the show, get everything wrapped up. I know we've been going for about a little over an hour now. So before we hop into the fourth label, which is Christian nationalism, just going to ask you to smash that like button, share it. See, we got new people joining. We got 34 people watching live right now between Rumble and X. So appreciate everyone watching. Share it. If you're watching on X, come over to Rumble, rumble.com/user/Straight Talk Isaiah. Excuse me. And throw a donation in the chat. Like I said, we get $100 in super chats. We're only at $30, guys. I need your help. I can't do this without you. I can't give myself money. We need to get to $100 in donations. And then I'm going to tell a Holocaust joke. So I guess you guys don't want to hear the joke. So that's fine with me. You know, we don't have to tell the joke. But if you want to hear the joke, that's our goal, right, Nick? We just need the $100, and we'll be able to tell the joke.
To be fair, I have not heard the joke, so I'm actually looking forward to hearing it too. Drop some cash down there.
Appreciate you guys. Speaking of cash,
but no, we do got Nick's response here though too. My bad.
Yes. Speaking of cash, before we go into Nick's response, just want to again see if we can do this. Gonna take a quick ad break potentially. Let me jump over here. See if we can. Oh yeah, here we go from Perplexity. Appreciate you, Perplexity. Are you looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st, which is normally a $29.99 value. So you're saving $10 there. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and access to exclusive premium content. No interruptions, just the videos and streams you love anytime and anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. Thanks to Perplexity Pro for supporting the show. And again, you can support the show by throwing in a donation in the chat right now. Just click that dollar button. Let's get to $100. We'll tell our Holocaust joke. We got Nick's response from Roseanne's call out saying that he's going to be begging on his knees to the Jews, begging just like Kanye. And so here's what Nick has to say about that.
I saw Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr said he's going to be on his knees begging the Jews. Roseanne Barr, you need to be put in your fucking place, okay? You're a guest here. Newsflash, you're a guest here. This isn't a Jewish country. This is a Christian country. This country was not founded by Jews. Jews didn't write the Constitution. Jews didn't write the Declaration. Jews didn't fight in the American Revolutionary War. Europeans did. Christians did. You're a guest. You need to be put in your place. You disgusting fat bitch. No one is going to be begging Jews for anything because Americans would rather die on their feet than live on their knees begging to anybody. She goes, you're messing with the God of Abraham. You're messing with God. His name is Jesus Christ. That's who you're messing with. She
Amen.
goes, you're messing with the God of Abraham. You're messing with Yahweh. God's name is Jesus Christ, actually. That's the God of this nation. That's the God of your nation. That's your king, too. As a matter of fact, he's especially your king. He's the king of you people. He's the king of the Jews. Christ is king over everybody, especially you, Roseanne Barr, and that's who you're messing with. She goes, he's messing with the God of Abraham. We're like Daniel. We can predict the future. We know everything.
Is that it? Oh my gosh.
That's the response.
What a response. No, it's a great response. Thank you. I just want to make sure. Oh my gosh, what a great response. Christ is king. Jesus is king. Jesus is God, right? That's where this contention, like I was saying, lies, is in the fact that Jesus is God and that they don't believe that. And therefore, there's a natural tension there, just butting heads, just like it's the same as Christianity and Islam or Judaism and Islam. It's the same with Christianity and Judaism. They just want us to, they being the establishment, wants us to believe that we are very similar, right? Not the same. Well, that wraps up the third point of anti-Semitism. Is Nick an anti-Semite? Let me know what you think, chat. Is Nick an anti-Semite? My personal view is no, he's not an anti-Semite. He loves the Jewish people, thinks that they are God's chosen people, that they're special in God's eyes, and they have great talents. I've heard him talk about that before, about all the good things that Jewish people can do. And so I don't think he's an anti-Semite. I think that he's just pointing out the obvious and things that the establishment doesn't want us to look at or uncover. And that's the fact that Israel is pumping billions of dollars into our political landscape, into the politicians' pockets, so they can control them to make sure. Right now, this is the case. There's all different agendas, but right now, the government in Israel is extremist far right, to where they want to get back to the 1967 borders. If you're not familiar with the 1967 borders, that would erase Gaza and the West Bank, which would mean that there's no more Palestinian people. It also retake the Golan Heights in the north of Israel, if you're not familiar with that. And so this government right now is a super religious, far-right extremist government. It's the only way that Netanyahu could stay in power was joining forces with them. And so they're making settlements in the Palestinian-controlled land, and they're just creating chaos, just making things worse. And so that's just what he's pointing out, is that we don't want our tax dollars going to fund that. We want them to help us here in America. Fourth label we're taking a look at tonight is Christian nationalist. And this one he proudly owns all the time. And so do I. This week, I've come to the realization that I am 100% a Christian nationalist. And so should you. You should be a Christian nationalist. Because we are sick of the secular liberalism telling us what we have to accept, forcing their views on us. We believe, and we know, we don't just believe, we have history on our side. We know that this is a Christian nation founded on Christian principles, and we're not apologizing for wanting biblical values to guide our laws and our culture. The Pilgrims came to America to escape religious persecution for their views. The founding fathers were majority Christian. And despite what people say, this is still a majority white Christian nation. And guess where Nick Fuentes got all of these views from? This idea that we are a white Christian nation. I think you guys are going to laugh. And if I don't, the chat's gotten silent, radio silent. So if you guys don't react to this, I guess you're not paying attention, because Nick Fuentes got these views from none other than Mark Levine, from the Mark Levine Show. He formed these views while watching the Mark Levine show. Pretty ironic, right? I mean, if you don't know who Mark Levine is, you can just look him up, look at the controversy. I see you stay 100, appreciate you. Nick learned all of this from Mark Levine. So, Mark Levine, we have you to thank for the correct Christian nationalistic viewpoint that Nick Fuentes holds, that I hold, and that many of us hold here, that Christ is king. America was founded on Christian values from Christian founding fathers. And this is still, despite, if you Google this, so funny. If you Google, is America a white Christian nation majority still? It'll say, no, it's not. But then it'll break down the numbers for you. And if you look at the numbers, you're going to say, wait, so the majority of people are white and then the majority of people are Christian. So isn't that majority white and majority Christian? But Google doesn't want to admit that because it's left-wing liberal lunatic, right? So just super ironic that he got all these views from the Mark Levine show. Thought you guys might find that funny. Apparently it's not that funny. Just want to remind you that Christ is king. That's what he's trying to say here. And that America is first. That's not a hateful statement. That's just reality, even though there's plenty of left-wing agencies and organizations that want to and have already deemed Christ as king as an anti-Semitic statement. Don't accept that. So we hear all this. We hear these four labels and breaking them down, and we've kind of destroyed the narrative that the establishment's built against Nick Fuentes, I think anyways. I know we only have a limited amount of time here, but let me know, chat, what you think. I think we did a pretty good job of breaking down the labels that they throw at him, looking at some clips, understanding what he says about himself versus what other people are saying about him from the clips, and getting a good full picture of who Nick Fuentes is. And so why has Nick officially won this war? Well, he's won because the base, the Republican base, is finally waking up. Finally. Young, old, male, female, black, white. The questions he's asking about foreign aid, about the donor influence, about who really runs the right. These are all questions that Con Inc., that the establishment can't answer without exposing themselves as an Israeli shill or a Qatari shill, They can't really answer them. So it's one of the reasons why he's won. And then, we also have the head of the Republican Party, Trump, saying that people need to hear him. People need to hear his views. Get it out. People need to hear it, right? Decide for themselves. Don't just throw a blanket statement on someone or label them a racist and dismiss them, right? Trump himself is actually retweeting accounts that would make Ben Shapiro uncomfortable. Maybe even Mark Levine uncomfortable, or Laura Loomer, right? Blues win. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Over 5.5. Let me know in the chat. Need to know. Trump's retweeting these accounts. This is a shift in the right. The wind is shifting. The right is shifting. The controlled right can't handle the heat. Like I said before, if they can't handle the heat, they need to get out of the kitchen. That's our main segment on Nick Fuentes. Like I said, we've done a lot of dissecting. Spent over an hour and a half here talking about him, breaking things down, watching clips. And we've foregone everyone's favorite segment, right? Left-wing lunatics. I'm so sorry we had to forego that segment, but just to give you a laugh, I want to play the pre-roll video at least. So let's watch the left-wing lunatics pre-roll just for for Gables.
They're shouting loud but making no sound, chasing their tails round and round. Oh, the chaos never quits. Left-wing lunatics, they're flipping, they're tripping, they're losing it quick.
Oh, I love that song. Left-wing lunatics makes me smile every time. Hope it does for you too. Thought you might just get a laugh. And before we hop into Faith in the Fire, we couldn't go without the show with, of course, having a faith element to all of this. And before we hop into Faith in the Fire, be sure to start dropping your super chats below for any questions that you want answered, or any statements that you want to make, or anything that we can read. And remember, like I said, if we get over $100 in super chats tonight, I'll tell a Holocaust joke. In fact, because we're here at the end of the show, I'll cut it in half. We're at $30 right now. We only need $20 to reach $50. If we can get to $50 in super chats, I'll tell the joke. So we only need $20. That's 2 people giving $10, 1 person giving $20. So before we go into Faith in the Fire, I just want to say, drop your donations below. We hit $50, I'll tell that joke. Share this with someone, like the video, appreciate that. And as we wrap up this discussion, it's a hard-hitting discussion on political battles from Nick Fuentes' controversial rise and this conservative civil war that he's won. You know, it is clear that our world is full of intense debate right now. Got shifting alliances, voices that are demanding to be heard. And in the midst of all this noise and division, there's something that is far greater. Far, far greater. Hey, thanks, Johnny. Appreciate that super chat. $10. We only need $10 more to hit our goal of 50. And I'll read out all these super chats too. We're going to go right into that. That's our next segment here. We're going to be reading the super chats and then answering your questions. So we just need $10 more in super chats so I can tell my Holocaust joke. Appreciate you, Johnny. Johnny's the man. Like I was saying, though, is we're pausing, reflecting, we're looking towards hope. And we're continuing through this Advent season. It's December, Christmas. You know, we got the festivities going on. Trying to, as much as we can with the limited budget we have for the show. This is a time of waiting, of preparation for the coming of our Savior. So just want to turn our hearts towards Jesus. He is the eternal light that breaks through even in the darkest of times, even when it feels hopeless, right? And so we're going to continue our Advent series. We're going to read tonight's Advent from The Advent of Glory by R.C. Sproul. This is a daily devotional Advent that I'm doing with my family every night. We read this together. Tonight is day 12, and so we'll be reading day 12 with you together. Let's go ahead and read this. Prophet after prophet in the Old Testament enlarges on the promise of God, of this one who was to come. I don't know exactly how many prophecies there are altogether in the Old Testament about the coming of the Messiah, but some have numbered them in the thousands. The one who was to come would be like Moses, a prophet raised up by the Lord. The one who was to come would mediate a new covenant for the people. The one who was to come would be a servant who would suffer and die for the sins of others. And the one who was to come would be like David. In that day I will raise up the booth of David that has fallen, and repair its breaches, and raise up its ruins, and rebuild it as in the days of old. Amos 9:11. David, of course, was the greatest king in all of Israel's history. He extended the borders of Israel and made what had been a tiny little nation about the size of the state of Maryland into a regional power. He brought wealth, trade, and industry, and so on to the Jewish nation. David distinguished himself as a great statesman and political administrator. He introduced one of the most prosperous economic periods in the nation's history. He was also, as we know, a poet, a musician, and a man after God's own heart. David inaugurated what has always been seen as the golden age of Israel. But within one generation, during the reign of David's son Solomon, this golden age began to tarnish. By the second generation, it had turned to rust. The kingdom was split into two, with the north ruled by Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and the south ruled by Solomon's son, Rehoboam. After that, the history of the divided kingdoms read like a rogue's gallery. There are wicked monarch after wicked monarch. Much of what had been glorious about the kingdom of Israel was now fallen and in ruins. Imagine a little booth, a ramshackle building tilted over on its side, wild vegetation covering, decaying, rotting. That's the image of what David's kingdom had become by the time of the prophet Amos. It was in shambles. No wonder that the people longed for the restoration of the kingdom of Israel, longed for a kingship that would mirror and reflect the graciousness of the era of David. This is what Amos said God was going to provide. One who would come would raise up that which had been fallen and rebuild it as in the days of the old. A king like David would reign once more. In the time of Jesus, many people thought that this Messiah would be a political revolutionary. He would drive the hated Romans out of the land, just as David had defeated the Philistines and restore the earthly kingdom of Israel. They expected a political deliverer. But Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world," in John 18:36. The battle Jesus won transcended any struggle that takes place in ordinary combat or warfare on this planet. His victory is a victory over cosmic forces. Satan, hell, and death itself. His throne is in the heavenly realms. His rule is over all things, not just over the one nation, just like Nick said, right? Christ is king over all. Jesus is king far greater than David. The angel proclaimed this truth when he instructed Mary regarding how her son would be named. He will be great, and he'll be called the Son of the Most High. And the Lord will give to him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end. We're almost done, guys. I promise. Jesus was the Son of the Most High God and Son of David, the one whom God had promised would be David's son and David's Lord. So what does it mean to you that Jesus is ruling from his heavenly throne right now? What difference does it make that he will still be ruling tomorrow and the day after that, in the next year and the next century? Great questions and food for thought. And this is a prayer for today from this devotional that they provide. So let's pray. Gracious Lord Jesus Christ, you are David's greater son, his Lord and mine. From the beginning, you have reigned over all things, visible and invisible, both in heaven and on earth. You are sovereign over both nature and history. In you, the Father's oldest and most difficult to keep promises have been fulfilled. I praise you for bending down and lifting us onto your shoulders to take us home to your heavenly glory. Thank you for coming to conquer the dark powers that mar our lives. And thank you, too, that though you were demeaned and rejected by those who would not have you reign over them, all authority in heaven and earth is now yours. I bow before you as my king and pray that when today I stand in the presence of others, your reign over me will be obvious to them. Hear my prayer, O Lord. Amen. Amen and amen. Just wanted to share that. It's the Advent of Glory. This book by R.C. Sproul. Highly recommend it. Pick it up, share it with your family, read through it. It's got the devotions, it's got verses, and it's got prayers. All for your family. Highly, highly recommend it. If you're not doing that, do something. Read a devotion. Do something with your family. Especially if you're a man, you're the head of the household. It is your responsibility to do that. Well, we only need $10 more of a super chat. So someone drop one more donation. That's all we need. $10. One person, $10. Two $5 donations. Someone dropped some donations in there, and I'll tell the Holocaust joke. It's going to be a good one. Like I said, the producer, Nick, hasn't even heard it. Haven't even said it to anyone. So you may have heard it, but Who knows? You'll never know until I say. So we're going to transition right now to the chat portion. We're going to read some of the chat, going to engage with you guys. And while we're going through this, we still need one more $10 donation, two more $5 donations. We need a total of $10 donated for us to say that Holocaust joke. And that is not going to be revised. Again, no more revising here. $50. That's what we need. We only get 50% of whatever you donate already. Rumble takes 50% of the cuts. So we need to keep it hardlined at that $50. We got costs. We need to give some, to our pro-Israel lobbyist producer Nick. We got to give him some money. He holds us hostage, so he asks for money. Just kidding. But we want to go into the chat. I'm scrolling here as I'm talking, so I'm just trying to get to the top of the chat here, see what's going on, guys. But like I said, throw in one more donation. We just need $10 for us to get to that goal and be able to hear one of the most racist Holocaust jokes that I've ever heard. Probably you'll ever heard too. Okay, there it is. FuegosAmigos.com. We just got it. Just going to read through the chats here really quick, and then we'll wrap up with the joke, of course. We got some people. We got Be the Difference saying, let's go. Like the video. We've got Stay 100 telling us that he's at his desk. Yep. Bitcoin is at, wait, is Bitcoin, you're Valiant saying take Bitcoin to 200K, silver to $100 an ounce. Go Blues. Yep. Thank you, Kyle, for your donation, your $20 donation. Really appreciate that. He said, we need this joke. Need this joke. That's why he donated. We'll get to the joke. Don't worry. Got some people running late again. It says, Green Sharks, appreciate you for joining, Green Sharks. Thank you for your support. Thanks for everyone here supporting. Thank you, Valiant Bird. I see you in the chat. Tons of emojis from Valiant Bird. Green Sharks saying his internet sucks. Who do you got, Green Sharks? What kind of internet you got? You got Starlink? Do I need to talk to our boy Elon, dude? Do we need to get some shipped out to you? You got some like HughesNet or something, some satellite? What's going on out there? Fix your platform, Rumble. Oh, that was earlier when it was my fault. I'll take the blame, guys. I muted my computer. I muted the speakers, and I couldn't hear Nick. I couldn't hear anything. It was my fault. I'll take the blame. I'm an idiot. Let's go, DraftKings. Let's go. That's right. Hey, did anyone hit their bets tonight? Let's see. Anyone hit their money lines? Anyone hit any bets tonight? I think I made some bets. I know my wife made some bets. My wife, guys, I knew. As soon as I never sports betted before in my life. And many of you watching had joined the live stream for my first experience of sports betting and gambling online, which was pretty entertaining. If you didn't watch it, go back and watch it. Super entertaining. Don't know what I'm doing. Had no idea what I'm doing. But my wife, I knew as soon as I started betting that my wife would fall in love with sports betting. Just because I'm not a phone game person. I'm on my phone a lot, but it's more, I'm looking at news. I'm on X, reading articles, posts, things like that. But my wife loves different phone games. There's a couple, she doesn't play all types of phone games, but there are 2 phone games that she likes to play a lot. And so I knew that when I started sports betting that she would fall in love with this. And she did. She is, oh my gosh, they didn't score over 5.5. I knew. Man, Drix was right, guys. Drix Picks is always right.
I've actually been reading the chat over here saying basically the lesson of the night was to not do the 5.5, 5.5. You needed the 4.5. A lot of the people cashed out on the 4.5. One time for everyone in the chat that cashed out on the
Warren. Hey, Warren, did you win?
Warren played it safe tonight and did not get in. He took a rain check.
Wow. Praise God for Warren's sake. Our buddy Warren is trying to double up. He's trying to hit doubles.
Warren's on a generational run like Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, he's on a run to $1 million. So we'll see. We might even have to do some. If we keep going, I'll say this. I'll make this call right now. If you get to where you're placing a $10,000 bet finally down, we're going to stream that IRL. We'll figure out what we got to do, whether we do it at someone's house or we go to the DraftKings bar or the FanDuel bar here downtown. We'll figure something out, but we'll do an IRL stream and we'll get everyone together, as many of the guys together as we can. And we'll do that. That'll be fun. So I make that statement here live, can't take it back. So we'll have to do it. If we get to that $10,000, women shouldn't be in politics, Valiant Bird said. One could say a woman is made of better material. Oh, dang, Green Sharks. He said women equals made from flesh. One could say a woman is made of better material. What do you think about that, Nick? You like that? Stay 100 said, make me a sandwich. Valiant said, make me a ham sandwich. I prefer turkey and provolone. Personally, Gio's is the best. Gio's Deli. Best sandwich around. Second Amendment all day, baby. That's right. Support the Second Amendment around here. I'd say depends on how good the sandwich is. Stay 100 said. Right to bear arms. If you don't follow the laws, you shouldn't have a say in the laws that are made. Completely agree. Valiant Bird said, Nick actually likes men. Nick, the producer, he said. Trey. I'm dead, dude. I'm dead. He said he got everyone thinking he's talking about Nick Fuentes, and he comes back, Nick, the producer. Oh, gosh. True, at Green Sharks, we indirectly do that. We don't even get a say in that, but there could be a better way, in my opinion, right? Repping the Dr. Pepper. Yes, sir. Repping the Dr. Pepper. Sponsor me. Probably won't get sponsored. A little too controversial, but send me free Dr. Peppers. Dr. Pepper would be great. Play the game. Don't let the game play you. That's true, Green Sharks. Appreciate that. Pierce's wife is a cuck. We went through those ones already. Oh, man. Is my mic working? Man, that's one of the best clips of the whole interview. He says, is my mic working? That another one of my favorites, as he says, are you just playing dumb? Are you actually dumb? One of the best parts of the interview the entire time. Hilarious. I'm just so glad that the Pierce Morgan interview happened, because that's what put the rubber stamp on the battle, and why Nick won is that interview. 110%. Just really solidified everything. Stay 100. His donated chat says, fuck Pierce. Sorry for the language. Just got to read the chats out. We don't discriminate, all right? You can put whatever you want in the chat. I'll read it out. Because free speech. I can say whatever I want. So, do you think black people should have to pay for their dinner before it's served to them? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say 5%. That's my answer. 5% of them should, just like Nick said. 5% should have to pay for their dinner beforehand. What did you say, Nick?
All I said was, wow.
I'm just going to default to his answer, right? We'll take his answer, 5%. That'll be the answer, right? Stay 100. Hilarious. Yeah, we're finished and done. Like on my rant earlier, we're finished. We're done. We don't want Pride Month. We don't want transgender sports. We don't want none of that nonsense. All right. We're done. It's okay to say gay. It's okay to say retard. Free speech. Okay. I don't know about you. I know some of the people watching the show tonight are some of my age, some not. Some are older, some are younger. But in my generation, playing video games, you're called a Jew, man. Hey, just saying, you're getting called a Jew. That's just how video games went in my day. And so, free speech in this secular liberalism, look that up, look into that, look into modernity, modernism, secular liberalism, research that on your own. That's what this feminist ideology has really started to strangle free speech. And it does come from a lot of the left-wing liberals and from organizations like the ADL, Southern Poverty Law, all those crazy left-wing lunatics. So again, sorry, I'm ranting more here. Just want to get back to the chat. But Zay, you're killing it. Thank you. Killing it every day, man. I wake up and I kill it, all right? Wake up, drink coffee, crush it. Those are my 3 steps of the day. You wake up, you drink coffee, crush it. That's all you need. Fuegosamigos.com. That's right. Premier sponsor above any other. Platinum sponsor, you might say. The biggest, the best sponsor, right?
You are fake news.
New Fuegos Amigos jars coming this weekend. This weekend on the new Fuegos Amigos 12-ounce jars. Stay tuned.
Right, baby. New jars coming this weekend. If you didn't know, founder CEO of Fuegos Amigos Salsa happens to be our producer, Nick. So he is our premier sponsor for the show, donating proceeds from sales of the jars back into the show. So thanks to Nick. Thanks to Fuegos Amigos Salsa. Go buy a jar right now, fuegosamigos.com. This is the best salsa I've ever had. This is the salsa that my daughter wants to eat every day when she's having breakfast. So if you don't know, salsa in your eggs. You don't know. If you know, you know. And like Nick said, what are we saying? Bigger jars coming, right, Nick?
Yep, bigger jars coming this weekend.
Bigger jars. Some might say they're huge jars, right? Blues win. That's right. We celebrated that. Johnny Ray-Ban, here's your chat. Check this out. Yeah, def ironic about Mark Levine. But I heard all this is really about Ben Gurion canal that's going to be built. Israel's a trade control node. Nothing I can disagree with there, Johnny. I 100%. I'm not familiar with the Ben Gurion canal, but it sounds like something that would be happening. Go ahead. What were you saying,
I'm
Nick?
familiar with it. Once they wipe out Gaza, and then there's one other country, I think, or maybe it might not even be another country, but yeah, then they'll be able to control this whole canal and, presume and control trade.
Yeah, is it the Wadi Al Arish or something like that? There's a river that flows through Gaza.
Yep.
And
it flows up north. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I went to Bible college, guys, so I know all those know all about the land of Israel, right? So David Ben Gurion was the first prime minister of Israel. If you don't know, he was in 1948. That's the guy who was the first prime minister, and in my opinion was the culmination of what true Zionism was to found the state of Israel. Now we've got this new Zionism, as I call it, where they're trying to do crap like this and get back to the 1967 borders. That was not the 1948 agreement. That was not the original borders. I believe in a 2-state solution. Don't kill people. No wars. We want peace and bring it back home. We need money here. I need money. Our producer needs money. Everyone watching needs money. Mortgages are outrageous. So, John, he kept saying it's more about the trade than it is theology. Sadly, heard that's why Russia isn't really stopping them. Yep, 100%. God's chosen people is trash. He said that it's not false, completely false. Now, there's just the, and I wouldn't say the Old Testament is trash either, Johnny. I'd say that what we have to do is we have to understand it in its fuller context. Not that one is done away with and one we keep. That would be, that's like picking and choosing, because without the Old Testament, we can't get to the New Testament. If we don't have the Old Testament to show us, the whole point of the Old Testament is really to show us that this people that God did choose, that God's chosen people, are actually still so corrupt and sinful that it doesn't matter that he chose them, that they're still broken. The entire history of Israel is, it's a cyclical cycle. It goes up. There's prosperity when they have a good king and they're obeying God. And then they start worshiping pagans. They have an evil king. And then they go into exile. They're captured and conquered by a different nation. And then they get out of captivity. They have a good king. And it happens over and over. The Assyrian captivity, Babylonian captivity, right? You have all these things flowing. That's the purpose of the Old Testament, is to show us that we're depraved humans, that we are all sinful. Even God's chosen people are sinful, right? There's nothing that they could do to make themselves perfect. They had to keep making sacrifices. That's the point of the temple from the Old Testament, is that they had to continually make sacrifices. Leviticus 17:11 in the law of Moses, the Torah, right, for the Jewish people, there it says, let me read it. So I don't want to get it wrong. I know it says that the life and death is in the blood, but let's read the actual verse. For the life of the flesh is in the blood. I have given it to you on the altar to make atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that makes atonement by the life. The life that's given is what it's talking about. And so the blood atonement is how the Jewish people got the forgiveness of sins, through the blood atonement. That's the picture that we see and that we're able to take. And even deeper with the Passover in Exodus, them leaving Egypt, right? The Passover lamb was sacrificed to be a blood covering for the people so that they didn't have the angel of death kill their firstborn. And so that's why the Old Testament can't be done away with and isn't completely trashed, Johnny. And the idea that the God's chosen people thing, I understand what you're saying there, though. I understand why you're saying it's trash, is because they still say today that they're God's chosen people. And I got to lean more towards that the church is God's chosen. I don't know what God's plan is for the Jewish people. I know he's got some type of plan, something about 144,000. I don't know. I'm not an eschatology expert. Many of the people, I have some people watching right now that are in my Bible studies, and they'll all tell you that I'm not one to really necessarily even care about eschatology, because when it happens, we'll know. I promise you. There'll be no doubt about it. When Jesus is coming through the sky and the sky splits, there'll be no doubt that Jesus is coming back. I can promise you that. And so wrapping up my point here, Johnny, is that I understand the idea of the chosen people argument being trash, and it probably frustrates you as it frustrates me. But we don't want to do away with the Old Testament, because that's the foundation that we need to show us why we need Jesus, because we're sinful, because we're broken. And the New Testament always points back to the Old Testament to help us understand where we came from. And Jesus was Jewish, so it's just trying to show the fulfillment of the Jewish people, even though the prophecy said the Jewish people would reject him and that the Gentiles, the Goyim, right, would accept him. We still want to be able to read the Old Testament from our viewpoint of the new chosen people of the church. We can still draw conclusions for our life today from the Old Testament. I promise you, I've done it. I've taught multiple Bible studies and gotten to help. I got to be in multiple Bible studies. I'm actually in a Bible study right now on the Old Testament on the book of Job. And so there's plenty of things that you can learn. Exactly, Johnny. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. All sacrifices are useless after the crucifixion, 100%. Jesus is the answer. Nothing that Judaism, nothing that Islam offers. It's just Jesus Christ is king.
Well, let's hear that joke.
Yep. Well, we're here. Fuegosamigos.com was the last super chat. Sorry, I was just trying to make sure I read all the super chats, Nick. Well, the culmination of the whole show. We're here.
I stepped away and I just came back. We're good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. The joke is, are you guys ready for the joke? I think you are. Like Nick says, he wants to hear the joke. So, racist Holocaust joke of the night. Man, I forgot it actually. I'm trying to remember. I don't want to mess it up now. I'm like all tongue tied. Oh, Nick, you're gonna have to interact with me on this, okay? Or the chat. So,
gotcha. I gotcha.
What's the worst part, Nick? What do you think the worst part of being a Black Jew is?
I don't know.
Well, unfortunately, you have to sit at the back of the oven. What do we think about that, chat? Pretty good. I told you guys, probably my most racist Holocaust joke that I have that I can bring out to you guys. I've told it many times, told it to many Black people, many Jewish friends, so not ashamed to tell it. But yeah.
The back of the oven.
Yeah, the worst thing about being a Black Jew is that you got to sit at the back of the oven. So kind of, not a great place to be in. So let me know, chat. Do we like that? Tasteful, tasteless? How do you feel about that joke? I appreciate Holocaust jokes. I think, like Nick said in his interview, right? I don't think we play that clip, but Piers Morgan says, why do you think the Holocaust is something to joke about? He says, what? Too soon? Too soon? And that's how I feel, right? Same with like 9/11 jokes, right? Too soon. Or, George Floyd jokes or anything like that, right? Comedy cuts through the noise. Humor is a way actually people sometimes deal with trauma even. So just get over it. Get over yourself. Laugh at the joke. It's okay. Black Jews got to sit at the back of the oven. It's okay. Appreciate everyone for donating to hear that joke. If you want to hear more jokes like that, then subscribe, follow us here, turn on your notifications, because every week, Friday night, we'll be going live at 8 p.m. And something that our producer Nick and I have been talking about is about, we want to get to eventually where we're going live more often, not just once a week, but we want to get to twice a week and then maybe 3 times a week. And so Friday night's definitely going to stay. But I've been trying to figure out whether we do a Wednesday night show or a Monday night show. So, let me know what you think. That is a risky joke. Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate that. Great thing is my family's Jewish, so I kind of get away with it, right? Just joking. Anyway, anyone can tell that joke. I don't think that you have to be Black to tell a Black joke or Jewish to tell a Holocaust joke. I just find it pretty funny. What was I talking about though? Before I saw Johnny's chat there. I think I was talking about sharing the stream, right? Just sharing it.
We were talking about what other night would work better.
Oh yeah, what other night works better? I really want to know. That's why I want to talk about that, is because
you guys got another night, drop it in the chat.
Yeah, Monday or Wednesday, which one would be better for you? Drop it in the chat. If you know me, text me. Just want to know for the audience what works better, right? I don't want to go live on a night that's not going to work for you. If you find that Monday nights are busy, wouldn't it be convenient? Let me know. I'm favoring Wednesday night, but I want to hear from you guys because you're the audience. You're the ones who make the show. This isn't just my show. This is our show, right? It's all about us being unfiltered, our straight talk, the the views that we're trying to come across with. So let me know if Wednesday works for you or Monday works better for you. Just want to make sure we're serving the audience, we're serving the people. Well, that's all we've really got for the show tonight. Like I said, we really wanted to focus in on Nick Fuentes tonight. So thanks again for joining us. Always shine a light on the stories that matter. This unfiltered and unafraid truth talk. And if tonight's episode challenged you, it encouraged you, or made you laugh, or just gave you something to think about, maybe do us a solid favor. Smash the like button right now here on Rumble, YouTube. Like this tweet, share this episode with your friends, family, a left-wing lunatic, a right-wing retard, and make sure you are subscribed with the notifications turned on so you never miss out on a single broadcast. Now, we had some new first-time viewers joining us tonight. I want to appreciate every single one of you for joining. Thank you so much. We're growing because of faithful viewers just like you who refuse to settle for the mainstream narrative. So let's keep the conversation going strong. And until next time, remember, it's America first, Christ is king, and freedom isn't free. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And we'll see you next week on Straight Talk with Isaiah Ascher. Next Friday, 8 p.m. Central Time, right here on Rumble. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.